Hi Leo, welcome to your April 2020 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, just check out the description of the video for more details. As far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridging the gap spread, and the way it works is the cards on the left side represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest. Cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection. These are the past energies, present energies, future energies. Once we get through all those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards to gain some additional insight. That's where the bridge and the gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. And keep in mind these are general readings, so if you feel more like the cards on this side sound like the other person's energy and the cards on this side sound like yours, then definitely trust that too. But as I'm going through the reading, I'm going to be referring to the cards on this side as your energy. Alright? So, starting with the past energy on your side, we have the Two of Staves. So this is actually Aries energy, represents the first 10 degrees of Aries. So for some of you, it could just be saying that during that time, which I'm actually recording this as the sun is in these degrees of Aries, this could just be saying that for some of you, maybe you were starting something new at that time, and maybe because of that you weren't able to give much energy to the connection. Because what stands out to me here, on the one hand, I definitely see this as you taking action, right? But given the body language, the fact that he's pointed away from the cards on this side, I feel like it wasn't taking action toward the connection, but I feel like this is possibly something else that you had your mind on. Now, I don't necessarily feel like it's another connection. I feel like there was just another area of life you were focusing on in the past. And maybe in that regard, you might have even been oblivious to, what was going on with this person in the past. But that's what I'm seeing primarily there. It looks like you had probably something that you were passionate about as well, that you were looking towards starting in the past. For some of you, it could have been physically moving somewhere too, and if that's the case, I'm thinking it was probably a pretty far distance from where you were in the past, so that's what I'm seeing there. Past energy on their side, they have quite a bit. We have the Hanged Man, which is Pisces energy for me. Five of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy. Ten of Cups, which is Pisces energy, and the Magician. So seeing these cards come up together, it's interesting because on the one hand, the Hangman could just be saying that maybe they were on hold a little bit. Maybe they were unsure of what action to take towards you because, again, if you were focused on something completely different, maybe that threw them for a loop where they weren't sure how best to approach you. And if that's the case, the Five of Pentacles here could just be saying that they might have been stuck in their head around the whole thing and fearing that you would reject them. Because what stands out to me here, usually we hear the Five of Pentacles, we think of that energy being left out in the cold, right? And here I see, like, the way I see the energy of these two people, the red robe represents the passion, right? And almost like a bluish color on the woman almost represents to me that cold energy, right? So could just be saying that, maybe some of you actually did reject them, or again, for some of them, I at least feel like they feared being rejected. And another indicator I see of that here is the Ten of Chalices, which, Ten of Cups is normally a very positive energy, but what stands out to me here, along with the cards going along with it, is we see, looks like the woman's extending a fruit to the guy, and it looks like he has his back completely turned and doesn't even see that it's being offered, right? And then the Magician could just be saying that, for one, they might have felt like they tried everything they could to get your attention, for one, or it could just be saying that this is them, like, kind of going back to the drawing board, figuring out how best to approach, So it's interesting there, regardless of if they actually did physically make an offer to you, or again, if this was all them just being trapped in their head about some kind of rejection. Uh, Either way, I feel like it just seems like you were just focused elsewhere. So that's what primarily sticks for me the most. And timeline-wise, this could have been around the end of Pisces season when the offer was made. Or maybe just in Pisces season in general, and it could have just been as simple as you guys, were caught up in the retrograde energy that was going on at the time, and maybe it was just cross signals in that regard. Present energy on your side, we have the Nine of Cups. So usually the Nine of Cups is a card I view, well, sometimes it's referred to as the wish card, but what I see with it more than anything is that feeling of being content, right? So, and what stands out to me in this one, if we think about the Ten of Cups in traditional tarot, there's the rainbow with the 10 cups in it. So with this, as opposed to the traditional tarot where we see the guy with his arms crossed, which is still a feeling of contentment, but here I almost see it more like you're manifesting that, right? So again, maybe this is regarding that new start that you had in the past. So this could just be the energy you're in, where you're just really, making things happen for yourselves and actually happy. Present energy on their side, we have the Knave of Swords. So this is the equivalent of the Page of Swords. So I do have to say, for you guys, given that that's Pisces energy, which is 8th house for you, this could just be actually pointing to maybe you guys have a really good sexual connection. That's one way it could be playing out. But another way this could be playing out too is, again, I could see that intimidation factor, right? Because on the one hand, given that's the Knave of Swords, you would think that the one holding the sword is the one representing the sword element. But it could be them as well, which again, like I said, it could just be that that was what was going on with them in the past, where they just felt intimidated by you, didn't know how to approach you. Or again, like I said, for some of you might have actually rejected them because you had something else you were focusing on at the time. So maybe this is them actually wanting to, at the very least, reach out to you and maybe make that approach this time around, or a second approach if they already had tried with you. And it could just be as simple as saying that maybe there's going to be a lot of sexting between the two of you or something along those lines. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. Future energy on your side, we have the Ace of Cups. So taking this in conjunction with the Nine of Cups, that makes me think of basically you're getting close to that 10 of Cups, right? If you already have the 9 and then we see the Ace here. This could just be saying, again, like I said, it looks like you guys had something else you were focused on. It does seem like you're happy, really working on yourselves in the present. And in the future, that could just be saying because you sewed up whatever other area this was of your life that you were working on, now you'd be ready for that love relationship. This could just be the energy at play too, because pretty much for the entire month of April, you're going to have Mars in your opposite sign. So that could just be pointing to you guys actually putting energy towards, getting a relationship off the ground. Whereas maybe, for example, given that before that it was in your 6th house, maybe you're just focused on a lot more of your work, your daily routines, your habits, your health, possibly as well. And now with Mars moving into your opposite sign, you're actually bringing some energy toward that. And at the bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Queen of Cups. So another indicator that, at the very least, it seems like love is on your mind. Could be some significance with the full moon this month too, because that full moon will be in your house of communication. So maybe that's saying that you're actually going to finally communicate your feelings to this person. And we actually see that full moon symbolism in the card here too. So could definitely be an increase in communication between the two of you, if nothing else. And the future energy on their side, we have the Knight of Swords. So this is actually the court card for Gemini, which again could just be pointing to the increased communication between the two of you. But what I'm seeing here also is just an increase in confidence, right? If we look at looks like similar anyway to the person that we see here. So it looks like an increase in confidence. Maybe they're a little bit more comfortable communicating with you, and maybe that's what helps get things off the ground between the two of you. Or again, if you're actually in that reciprocal energy now, maybe that's what gives them the confidence, So it could play out either way. Either them gaining more confidence gets your attention, or you being more open to love makes them feel more confident and gets things moving more quickly in the connection. And the bottom of the deck on their side, they had the Eight of Swords. Excuse me. So with the Eight of Swords at the bottom of the deck, for them, if we think about how that is in traditional tarot, it's usually someone not being able to move forward, right? So that could have been what was at play there. Maybe they just felt, again, it could have been pointing to what I saw in the past energy, which definitely aligns with that. But if not, this could just be saying that maybe they had some demons in their past that they were working through. And the reason I say that is just because whenever I see the card in this deck, that symbol over there, that person rather, looks just like the devil card in this deck. So that's why I say, maybe they had some demons that they were still letting go of. And again, maybe it was just as simple as, like I said, maybe they just feared rejection, right? Maybe they lacked confidence. And we could see the growing confidence if that's the case with the Knave of Swords moving to the Knight of Swords. So maybe that's what it was saying, that maybe they never even acted toward you. It was just all of these things were playing out in their head and they were fearing the rejection, so they never actually came out with the offer. But now, as we see, if that's the case, it looks like they do gain that confidence and you guys will communicate a lot more. And like I said, for you too, timing seems to be working better on both ends, where, like I said before, it seemed like you had something else on your mind altogether. You weren't even looking their way. And now it looks like you're more open to love. So we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. First, we'll see if we get anything from the Mystic Moon Oracle deck. And for those of you who haven't seen this type of reading from me before, I actually do pre-shuffle this deck before I start recording. And all I'm looking for here is a couple of jumpers. So first I'll be looking for any unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. And if I shuffle for a while and nothing comes up, I just take that as a sign that there weren't, any additional messages needed. But we'll see if we get anything. So like I said, first we're looking for unspoken messages from you to them. Okay, got one there. And let's see if we have any unspoken messages from them to you. Okay, got one there. So fitting. The one on their side seems perfect for what I was already seeing. The card on this side, for your side, seems a little bit more of a mystery though. But if anything, given that it is your side, if it does resonate at all, you probably know exactly what this is referring to. So I guess that's the positive there. But it says, I can't seem to find the right words to say to you. So nowhere in here did I see a lack of confidence on your part, but that's almost what it sounds like, right? With the I can't seem to find the right words to say to you. It just seemed, the way I took it in the past was that you were just totally focused on something else and not, a lack of confidence at all. And with the Nine of Cups, same thing. I'm picking up on the energy that you are feeling confident, and maybe because other areas of your life are really going well. And then with that Ace of Cups, though, that could just be saying that you're thinking of making the offer to this person, but again, maybe you're not quite ready. And I guess in that context, it could make sense because if we think about the Queen of Cups in traditional tarot, it's the only cup card that has a covered cup. So if we think of it, how it would look in that deck, I often see that as someone who has those feelings, but they're not quite expressive about them. And given that for you guys, Cancer energy, which is what this card represents, is your 12th house too. Maybe you're also stuck in a way as far as actually coming out and communicating toward this person regarding your feelings. But funny enough, this card definitely to me makes sense for this side, which is would you reject me? Which at the very least, I feel like that was what I was seeing in the past, where that's what I was saying, where with that Hangman, the Five of Pentacles, it could have just been saying that they were fearing being rejected if they were to make a love offer to you, and this was them going back to the drawing board, figuring out how best to do it. So definitely interesting energy there. So maybe both of you in a way were kind of nervous about making the first move. And then obviously with the Eight of Swords there too, that also aligns with the would you reject me vibe, right? So like I said, it seems to make a lot more sense for their side than this one does for yours, but hopefully this resonated for you too. All right. And lastly, we'll pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Same situation. I did pre-shuffle this one, and then I'm just looking for one card here. We'll wrap up. Almost had one there, but went back in the deck. Alright, so I'll shuffle a little longer, and if nothing comes up, we'll just pull a card. But I do prefer to get a jumper if I can, so I'll give it a few more shuffles. Alright, yeah, that's fine. So give me a second, I'll put the deck down. And we'll just pull one random card. So alright, take this one here. Okay, it says The Fates. There's the artwork, and the number is 17. So we'll see what it says. Okay, it says fate, karma, acceptance that there are things you cannot change, and knowing what those things are. The Oracle's message. The Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things in your life you will never have control over. The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by Spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events and your current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. So, interesting message there, but let's see what the actual relationship message says. It says, other people are who they are. You can't change them. The challenge is to accept them as they are and not try to make them otherwise to suit you. This is a time to look at how you attempt to mold people to fit your view of how they should be, so you can remain in a relationship and avoid discomfort. What if who they are, and whatever is happening between you and them in this situation, is perfect from the perspective of Spirit? Now is the time to accept what you cannot change, even if it means that you honor yourself, Spirit, and the other person by moving on. Love unconditionally, for each of us is on our own journey, and we cannot direct that of another. Be aware that this relationship is indeed fated, and you are meant to evolve into a better version of yourself as a result. So, definitely an interesting message there, and what stands out to me where it's saying, be aware that this relationship is fated and you're meant to evolve into a better version of yourself as a result. Maybe that's pointing to the cup energy there, right? Which is to say, maybe the challenge for you is to be more expressive emotionally, right? And then maybe for this person, their challenge was to open up more as far as communicating, right? So, in a way, they sound similar in that regard, but I feel like for you guys, it was more emotional. For them, it might actually be verbally saying what they're feeling, right? So, that could be what's at play there, and maybe that's where the difficulty was coming into play between the two of you. But like I said, it does seem like there does seem to be attraction and growing confidence on both of your sides. So for the most part, I think you guys could definitely work it out. But hopefully that resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.